Hi. The topic today is where have I lived? What places have I lived in? I've lived in a lot of different places. My dad was in the military growing up, so we moved around. I was born in Japan on a military base, but I'm not a Japanese citizen because both my parents are from the US. When I was 6 months old, my family moved back to the US, and we lived in a state in the US called Missouri. I don't remember a lot about Missouri because I was just a little kid. We lived in Missouri until I was 5 years old. When I was 5, my family and I moved to California. California is a state on the west coast of the US. I started going to school when I lived in California. I lived in California from when I was 5 years old to when I was 9 years old. When I was 9, my family and I moved to Hawaii. Hawaii is an island in the Pacific Ocean, and I lived on an island called Oahu. Hawaii has 8 islands, and Oahu is one of the islands. I lived in Hawaii from when I was 9 to when I was 12. When I was 12, my dad retired from the military. My dad didn't work in the military anymore. He retired. After my dad retired, my family and I moved to a state called Montana. Montana is in the northwestern part of the United States. I lived in Montana for the rest of my childhood. I lived in a town in Montana with only 2,000 people for middle school and high school. I lived in a town with only 2,000 people from when I was 12 years old to when I was 18 years old. When I was 18, I went to college. I studied graphic design at a different town in Montana. The town was 3 hours from my hometown. After I graduated college, my husband and I moved to California because he got a job in California. I lived in California for 2 years. My husband got a promotion. My husband received a different position with more money in Ohio. So we moved to Ohio. My husband and I lived in Ohio for 3 years. When we lived in Ohio, I found a job that I really wanted, working for a running company. The job had many different locations throughout the US. But after 3 years of living in Ohio, I finally got the job in Pennsylvania. Now, I have been living in Pennsylvania for 3 years. Where have you lived? Have you lived in the same town your whole life? Or have you moved?